Hello! My name is Callista, and welcome back to Dragon Age 2! In the last episode, we returned to Gamlen's house, and just look at all of the things we have to deal with. So much DLC! Now then, Memento of Legacy and Memento of Mark of the Assassin, they are both story-based DLCs, like Return to Ostagar or The Stone Prisoner, and I have no intention of dealing with either of these DLCs anytime soon. To be perfectly honest, I tend to leave these two DLCs until literally the very last moment. Like, I will complete these two DLCs and then go and fight the final boss, and personally, I think that's where they fit best in terms of story, and I see no real reason to change that up with this Let's Play. All of the other DLCs, they're all like promotional items and things like that. Before I get started with them, however, we have a codex entry. The Cardinal Rules of Magic. Let me just start my timer, there we go. You must not be under the misimpression that magic is all-powerful. There are limits, and not even the greatest mages may overcome them. No one, for instance, has found any means of travelling, either over great distances or small ones, beyond putting one foot in front of the other. The immutable nature of the physical world prevents this. So no, you may not simply pop over to Minrathous to borrow a cup of sugar, nor may you magic the essay you forgot in the apprentice dormitory to your desk. You will simply have to be prepared. Similarly, even when you send your mind into the Fade, your body remains behind. Only once has this barrier been overcome, and reputedly, the spell required 2/3 of the lyrium in the Tevinter Imperium, as well as the lifeblood of several hundred slaves. The results were utterly disastrous. Ooh. Finally, life is finite. A truly great healer may bring someone back from the very precipice of death when breath and heartbeat have ceased but the spirit still clings to life. But once the spirit has fled the body, it cannot be recalled. That is no failing of your skills or power, it is simply reality. From the lectures of First Enchanter Wenceslas, I would like to say that the Elven, the ancient elves, would disagree with this, and the Inquisitor would disagree with this second paragraph. The third one, I mean, I was going to say, would Wynne disagree with this? She was dying, and then a spirit of faith was like, not today, and pulled her back to life. Her spirit hadn't necessarily crossed into the Fade. This last one may still be true, but the others, not so much. Now then, first things first, special deliveries, please. Give it a minute. There we go. So in Dragon Age 2, tomes are used instantaneously, so I don't need to go into my inventory and grab them. And we'll take some of these. Now then, come along, Carver. We have things to sell. Now then, this is going to be a little bit of a faff, and I am going to be cutting around it for the most part. However, you know, if I'm going to the market, there's a banter spot right there. I might as well get some banter whilst I'm doing this. We want 2 magic, 1 willpower, 2 magic, 1... Oh, nope, that's it. And more healing, and only ever healing. You want 2 constitution, 1 strength. Have that. 2 cunning, 1 dex. And you can have hail of arrows. And you can take 2 strength, 1 constitution. And you can have that. There we go. Now, I just want to explain a couple of things. For anyone who, like my boyfriend, isn't really all too familiar with Dragon Age 2 and might be using this as some kind of guide. So from those packs, we got lots of very nice things. We got so many accessories. My goodness. But the main point I want to bring up is the equipment, the armor, because, where's a good one? There we go, Restriction Warrior. So Amelia obviously cannot use Berogrand's breastplate, so you might be thinking, oh, well, just give it to Aveline. Unfortunately, I cannot, because all of the companions are restricted to companion armor. You cannot change them out of these clothes. They will upgrade, which you can buy from various stores and merchants throughout the game. However, they will not change out of their own armor. So these are pretty much worthless to me, so I'm just going to sell them. Secondly, unlike Dragon Age Origins, where you could start off with the Reaper's Cudgel, sell it, and have hundreds of sovereigns at the very beginning of the game, they changed that up with Dragon Age 2. All of the DLC items are worth 1 copper and 1 copper alone. They presumably did that because the entire point of, you know, Act 1 is getting together money. It'd be a bit of an anticlimax if you were just like, oh yeah, Varric, I'm in such dire straits, but first let me head home and make myself a millionaire by selling all of this promotional stuff. Now then, banter, if you please.
Varric, do you do anything?
Am I the next stop in your career evaluations? Joy of joys.
You watch and you talk, is that it?
You are dismissing hallmarks of both the utterly ineffectual and the incredibly dangerous.
I don't know what you mean.
It means coins flow when I talk and when I shut up. Like if you got paid to guard or unguard.
That makes no sense.
Good.
Indeed. Now then, as I was saying, this is going to be a bit of a faff, and I am going to cut around this, because literally all I'm going to be doing is heading to the market, selling the crap, heading back to Gamlen's house, picking up more stuff, heading back to the market, selling the crap, and I'm not going to bore you with that. So I hope you enjoy the banter. See you again in a minute.
Did you approve my application?
I can't make you a guard, Carver.
We were both soldiers. Why won't they take me?
I was an officer, and I follow orders.
No, you don't.
I also think of others before myself. You seem tired of that, and that's dangerous.
Just when it's not my choice. You told them not to take me, didn't you?
Yes.
Ooh, I have thoughts on that. So, I really love Carver as a character. I much prefer him to Bethany. But a lot of people seem to think that Carver is this spiteful, oh, I'm gonna stab my mage sibling in the back by doing what he does if you leave him behind at the end of Act 1. But this right here is why he goes and joins the Templars. This right here, because there are only 2 institutions that Mage Hawk cannot follow Carver. Just the 2. One of which is the army / the city guard, and the other is the Templars. And he tried to join the city guard. He tried, we just heard him. And Aveline turned him down, so his only other option was the Templar Order. He's not joining them to spite his sibling. He's joining them because I want my own life. And the only place you cannot follow me is this. And that's it. If you've ever wondered, why is Warrior and Rogue Hawk in the army with Carver? And you can, maybe if you're playing a very militant Hawk, someone who would be interested in joining the army, there's your answer. But for everyone who's playing like a really laid back, doesn't really give a shit Hawk, and you're left wondering, why did my Hawk go and join the army? I would put all of the sovereigns on it being because of Leandra. Carver ran off and joined the army, and Leandra said, Hawk, go bring my little boy back. And if you're playing a Mage Hawk, then they said, Mother, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't join the army because I'm a mage. Whereas if you were a rogue or a warrior, then it's, yes, Mother, I'll go bring Carver home. I love Carver. Anyway, I'm not done with selling yet, so back to the cuts.
I don't like some of the people you've been associating with, Carver.
Talk to my sister. She's the one in charge.
Maybe, but I know you get around. This city's full of people who are dead set on ending badly. I don't want to see you end up the same way.
Would asking you to stop spying on me help in the least?
No. So, Carver, have you thought about what you'll do if your expedition doesn't pay off?
This is our only chance, and you know it.
You're so damned proud you couldn't pick up a trade.
And who would take a Ferelden apprentice? Maybe in another year I could work my way up to Piss Boy.
Fine, let's crawl down some holes. Good bloody luck for your sake.
And I am back, and as you can see, Amelia has had a little bit of a makeover. I absolutely love how she looks right now. Let me show you what I gave her. So I gave her the Fugitive's Mantle, and can I just say I love this chest piece. I absolutely love it because it's not super magey. It's not a very obvious mage robe, and I really like that. And her staff is Malcolm's honour, so it was her father's staff. And given that her father never succumbed to mage possession, he was always very confident in his abilities. I like the fact that maybe Amelia is clinging to it in a, maybe his confidence will rub off on me, that kind of thing. Also, something I like, this, the naked lady on the back, that's Andraste, and this, I'm pretty sure, is the symbol for the Circle of Magi. It is a circle staff, because if you weren't aware, Malcolm was originally in the Circle of Magi, so he probably got this staff from there. So again, that's another reason why Amelia would cling so much to this staff. It is from the Circle of Magi, therefore it will help her not to fall to demons. That's what Amelia is thinking, at least. Also, accessories. I gave her the irons. I feel like she could do with some more resistances. The Arlathan Focusing Crystal. It's just a really good necklace. And the Hawk family crest. Because it's the Hawk family crest. She would want that. I did make rather a lot of use of the storage chest. I've put anything in here that, dual weapons. We don't have anyone that uses dual weapons. So I put all of that in there, all of the extra staffs, anything that was too high level. That's level 17, for example. Again, stuff that was way too high level. And I also put a lot of the accessories in here. So there are certain accessories, Lady's Choice, Restriction, Isabella. The companions have companion-specific accessories. So any companions that we don't have, I put all of that stuff in the storage chest. And let me show you what I gave the companions. Everyone come along. To Lowtown once again. Aveline, let's start with you. I gave her Fade Shear. I like the physical damage. Also, it improves with level up, which is always great. I did not swap out her shield. Amelia realizes that this is her deceased husband's shield. This means a great deal to Aveline, and Amelia isn't just going to rip that from her and sell it or put it in storage or whatever. So we have sold any shields that we have, and Aveline is free to keep Sir Wesley's shield. I also gave her the Chevalier's Banded Pride and the Guardian's Weighted Backhander. Those are both Aveline restricted. And the Ivo family crest. Varric can only use Bianca. He will refuse to use any other weapon, so obviously I couldn't give him a better crossbow. And why would I want to? Bianca is great. He has the Refined Gentleman's Sash and the Eye of the Bearded Dragon. Those are Varric restricted. And I also gave him the Band of Stolen Shadows. That bonus to lockpicking is beautiful. Carver, I gave the Dogs of War, mainly because it's got dogs on it, and Fereldans love dogs, so that's pretty much all the thinking I did on that. And he has the copper-bladed star and the Recruit's Band of Distinguished Service. Those are Carver restricted. And he has the High Lord's Belt for that extra attack and defense. There we go, and I'm pretty sure that's everything I did. Now then, banter.
I'm surprised you still travel with this, Aveline.
Carver, don't.
You're ever so busy with the guardsmen. It must be a burden to slum with the refugees.
It's oddly comforting that you insult me like I'm family.
That wasn't... No, I didn't mean that.
I know, but you should be glad that's how I took it.
Oh, Carver. Open mouth, insert foot. Now then, what are we doing today? I believe Varric wanted to speak to us, so let's go do that. I don't really have any set plans for today's session. Also, Codex entries? Well, there's Ravane.
You heard about that hero of Ferelden?
Yes. Why?
What makes a hero, eh? I bet I could kill an archdemon.
I bet you couldn't. I'll bet you a dozen ales.
What? Well, now I'm gonna show you.
Body, where are you gonna find an archdemon? Ravane. Nowhere in my travels, not in the heart of the Imperium, nor the streets of Orzammar, have I felt so much an outsider as in Ravane. The chant of light never truly reached the ears of these people. The years they spent under the thumb of the Qunari left most of the country zealous followers of the Q. But resistance to the chant goes deeper than the Qunari war. The Ravani refuse to be parted from their seers, wise women who are in fact hedge mages, communicating with spirits and actually allowing themselves to become possessed. The chantry prohibition against such magical practices violates millennia of local tradition. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genitivi. This is just another reason for Amelia to never go to Ravane. There are abominations everywhere. To be perfectly honest, she probably thinks that they're a very backwards people. It's not exactly nice of Amelia to think that, but that's what she would think. You allow yourselves to become possessed? Like, what? Do you even have basic education?
Maybe I should put you to use, Varric. Have you penned some warnings for the lawless?
Who's that for? Are most criminals big readers? Seems like pacifying the nobles.
Pictures, then. It was just a suggestion.
Well, how about a giant sign that just says don't? You could hit people with it.
Thank you. I get the point.
I wish the don't weapon had been in Inquisition. In Inquisition, there are a couple of joke weapons. Like, there's a shield that's just a wheel of cheese. And, there's a sword that's a massive ham. Like, like with the bone and like a cartoon ham when you the cartoons are throwing it to dogs and stuff. I think it's called the Jade Ham. I can't remember. I wish the don't sign had been included in that. And here we have Varric's room. Very lovely. They take care of him at the Hanged Man. Damn.
So, here's the thing. We need to find a way into the deep roads. Bartrand can lead us to the right place once we're down there, but we need a good entrance.
What about a bad entrance?
Any entrance would do, wouldn't it? Well, unless a dragon's sitting in it, I suppose.
We need an entrance that's close to our destination, but isn't already plundered or filled with darkspawn. Fortunately, I've received some new information. There's a Grey Warden in the city. If anyone knows how to get down there, it'll be him.
Why would a Grey Warden know that?
The Wardens don't just fight darkspawn. They forge into the deep roads all the time. And if he doesn't know, he might be able to point us to those who do.
Are there any other options?
None at the moment. Bartrand had an entrance lined up, but it was a bust. I'll keep looking, but if we don't find something, we'll have a fancy expedition with nowhere to go.
Very true. I don't mess with the Wardens. I don't think Amelia would be particularly anti-Warden. She'd probably be, very respectful handful of them. I mean, one literally just killed the archdemon and saved her homeland not all too long ago. Again, I don't necessarily think she's got any kind of hero worship. She's not like Alistair, you know, the wardens are amazing. Let me kiss their shoes, please, my lord. Like, she's not like that, but I don't think she'd go as far to be like, oh, wardens are dangerous. I don't fuck about with the wardens. I think she's probably like, oh, they seem like really cool people. Thank you for saving my country.
Sounds like you have it all planned out, Varric.
And that, Miss Eyre, is why I'm here. Supposedly, this Grey Warden came in with some other Ferelden refugees not long ago. A Lowtown woman named Lorene has been helping the Fereldans. We talked to her. Maybe we learn where he is. I'll keep after my contacts, see if I can drum up any other work.
Yeah, I think Amelia would be, maybe excited is the wrong word, but I think she'd be pretty eager to meet this Grey Warden, you know, maybe say thank you for saving Ferelden and all of that. Hello, History of Kirkwall, Chapter 1. It's difficult for many to comprehend today, but there was a time when Kirkwall was believed to be the very edge of the world. It was Emirius then, named after its founder, Magister Emirius Craven, and it was but one outpost on the very fringe of the Tevinter Imperium. There the Magister's serfs worked the quarries for the jetstone needed for the mighty temples of Minrathous. After a slave rebellion nearly burned the temple to the ground in the great city, it was determined that a centre for the slave trade would need to be established well away from the more civilized parts of the Imperium. Though this account may be exaggerated, since the notorious Archon Venarius Issar narrowly escaped assassination at the hands of an elven slave at the time. Because the new slave outpost would become wealthy beyond imagining, competition among prospects reportedly took over 20 years to resolve, resulting in great bloodshed in the frontier, well away from the Archon's eyes. Magister took arms against Magister, mostly in the form of small armies of serfs and mercenaries. Over half the slaves in existence allegedly died in these battles before Emirius was finally chosen, thanks to the marriage of Craven's son to the Archon's daughter. Within a mere decade, the mighty fortress was erected on the cliff where Kirkwall now stands. Over 1 million slaves passed through its gates before the Imperium eventually fell, an unimaginable number by today's standards. The Craven family itself became patrons of the next 3 Archons and was one of the driving forces behind the extension of the Imperial Highway into the Ferelden Valley, a move that would cost them considerable political influence after the resistance of the Alamari tribes. During its height, Emirius was a jewel to rival the mightiest of the Imperial cities, and the greatest centre of civilization outside Tevinter. From Kirkwall, the City of Chains, by Brother Genitivi, 924 Dragon. Very interesting. Chest. Yoink. Ooh, Shawl of Dale's Daughter. An old shawl embroidered with a family name, a Tevinter symbol of femininity, and the crest of the blooming rose. We're going to the brothel, lads. And Aveline. Oh, I'm sorry about this, Aveline. I must imagine Aveline seems like the kind of lady who would be extremely uncomfortable with the idea of going into a brothel. To be fair, I think Amelia is also the kind of lady who would be like, a brothel? What? Maleficarum. It has been asked, what are Maleficarum? How shall we know them? I have been as troubled by this question as you. You have come to me for the wisdom of the Maker, but none have seen the Maker's heart, save beloved Andraste. And so I have done as all mortals must, and looked to the words of his prophet for answers. And there I found respite from a troubled mind. For she has said to us, magic exists to serve man, and never to rule over him. Therefore, I say to you, they who work magic which dominates the minds and hearts of others, they have transgressed the Maker's law. Also, Our Lady said to us, Those who bring harm without provocation to the least of his children are hated and accursed by the Maker. And so it is made clear to me, as it should be to all of us, that magic which fuels itself by harming others by the letting of blood is hated by the Maker. Those mages who honour the Maker and keep his laws we welcome as our brothers and sisters. Those who reject the laws of the Maker and the words of his prophet are apostate. They shall be cast out and given no place among us. From the sermons of Justinia I. Amelia really does try to keep the Maker's words forever in her heart. As I said, she is devoutly Andrastian. Are either of these actual doors? You are not. Okay. And you are an actual door with a chest. Yoink. Thank you. And good evening, sir. Now then, now that we've spoken to Varric, what next? Let's see. We have Tranquility, the Black Emporium, Birthright over there, the Exiled Prince, and the Shawl of Dale's Daughter. You know, I do think that Amelia was very troubled by the fact that slavers were hanging about in the old Amelia state. So I think we're going to do Birthright first. Also, something that Varric said, one of the banters between him and Aveline, where he was like, it would be like if you got paid to guard or unguard. Something that Varric mentions that very few people talk about in a conversation he has with the Inquisitor at the very beginning of Dragon Age Inquisition. I wish I could remember this line for line, but my memory's a little bit shoddy. Basically, the Inquisitor and Varric are having a chat about Liliana, and Varric brings up the fact that, oh, she has a really tough job. I know this because I ran a spy network in Kirkwall. And the Inquisitor says, well, if you have that experience, why aren't you our spy master? And Varric says, oh, I made for a terrible spy master because I got way too involved with my contacts. I think he means Hawke and their companions. And I find that so interesting about Varric's character, and I haven't heard a single other person bring that up. It really calls into question Varric's motives for why he picked Hawke for the expedition, because Hawke was some randomer, a refugee who had sort of come up from nothing. And if you noticed, Varric did stutter. When Hawke said, why me? He stuttered before he went on to say oh, you've made a name for yourself in the underworld. It's actually because he wanted Hawke to join his spy network. I think that's such a neat little detail. Thank you. Ooh, hello. Madam, are you not concerned about all of this? That's it. Whoop. Excuse me. You can bugger off. There we go. Good stuff. Thank you. I will be taking that. And no one else dropped anything. Okay, yeah, there's Birthright. And so up here is... oh, is this the poison guy?
Where else can we go? No, that's where.
Also, these are... it's very sad, but these are probably mostly Ferelden refugees. The Hawke family got extremely lucky, you know, because they could live with Gamlen, but even then, it's still not particularly safe.
Tom Wise?
Huh? Oh, Hawke. Haven't seen you since we did that job together for Athenra. Been a while. Heard you're going on some expedition into the Deep Roads. And right into Darkspawn territory. Sure that's wise?
Not really.
We can't all make a living in the Undercity.
Just watch your back. That's all I'm saying. Say, you still in the market for some poisons? Athenril's scarce these days, and the coterie have their own mixers. You find any rare reagents and want me to whip you up something, just let me know. In fact, since you're an old friend, here's a recipe. My speciality. Everyone needs an edge sometimes, right?
Why, thank you, Tom Wise. And let me just tag that. There we go. Now then, I want to say...
A Ferelden in the guard. What will they think of next?
You have a problem with that?
Me? My family's not native either. I'm just surprised. A lot of old prejudice in the guard.
I'll give them plenty of reason to change their minds.
You know, it's possible they're just scared shitless of you. That's my theory, anyway.
Varric's probably correct. Let's be brutally honest, he's probably correct. I love Aveline. But she can be a bit intimidating when she wants to be. Let's see, I just want to check everything out first. Oh, hello. Bugger off. Back it up. Thank you. And you. Yes, get them, Aveline. Yes. And next. Good stuff, lads. And I'll be having your loot. Thank you. Now then, anything... Oh, we have Deathroot over there.
Rule of thumb. If the criminal runs to the sewers, he's gone.
Oh, okay. Good to know, Aveline. Deathroot. Deathroot has been used in magic and potion making for centuries. It's a fragile-looking plant with a thin stalk and purple flowers, which fruits once a year, developing bright red fleshy pods, which cause disorientation and dizziness if ingested. There are two varieties. The more common Arcanist Deathroot was first found by Archon Hadrianus, there we go, I get there in the end, when he discovered it's growing on several dead slaves. The other, Lunatic's Deathroot, is more closely associated with the story of the courtesan Melusine, who sought revenge on a powerful magister and his family. She harvested the plant, baked it into small pies for the magister's banquet, and presented them to the magister at a banquet. All the guests were seized by terrifying hallucinations after eating the pies and tore each other to pieces. Damn! An excerpt from the Botanical Compendium by Inez Arancia, botanist. Hey, I hope Inez is doing well. I hope Wynne is doing well. I mean, round about this time she would be in Amaranthine. Awakening is currently taking place. Hello, gentlemen, and I know you don't have anything to say to me just yet, but we do have a Sister Plinth's remains. Oh no. Oh, that's so sad. We must go and return them to the Chantry ASAP. But first we have slavers to take care of. And no codex entries knocking about over here. Good stuff. And what's up here? Just more people sitting at bonfires. Oof. This is so grim. I can't imagine that Amelia spends much time here. You know, I think on one hand she'd like to give money to these people because, you know, helping the poor and destitute is something that the Chantry encourages. But you come down here with money, you're gonna get mugged. So if Amelia were to give money to these people, she'd be doing it via the Chantry, you know, a collection box or something. Kirkwall, Darktown. Darktown was once a mine controlled by the Tevinter Imperium. Once exhausted, the mine shafts were extended under the city to dispose of sewage from Kirkwall's overcrowded population of slaves. Unsurprisingly, the tunnels became a refuge for those fleeing captivity. A similar trend continues today. The Undercity, as some call it, is home to the diseased, the insane, to criminals and even the dead. Unwanted corpses are often discarded here by murderers and lazy undertakers. Darktown slums make Lowtown look pleasant in comparison. The foul miasma known as choke damp clogs and swells in every corner of the Darktown, creating a poisonous mist. Its sewers are a dangerous place. The walls are damp, slick, and coated with phosphorescent lichen. The sewer is a maze, and one foolish enough to enter is not likely to be heard from again. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of Chantry Scholar by Brother Genitivi. Again, just this place is so depressing. I knew there was a codex entry here. The Tevinter Imperium.
I can still smell the dog on them.
How fucking dare you? Of course you can smell dog on us. We own one. The Tevinter Imperium. For good or ill, the Imperium has put its stamp on Thedas forever. The old Imperial Highway is still in use across most of Thedas. The ruins of Tevinter fortresses and centres of magical study still litter our landscape, long after the glory of the Imperium dimmed. But the influence of that ancient empire goes deeper than this. Without Tevinter, there would have been no Blights, no Andraste, no Chantry. Every aspect of our world would be altered. The might and majesty of the Imperium may have faded, but it still makes its presence known, even in the most distant corners of Thedas. Every child has been brought up on stories of Tevinter as it is now, a decadent nation ruled by the Archon and his court of magisters, great and no doubt corrupt mage lords. Their Chantry, a mockery of our own, their Black Divine, a man chosen from the ranks of the Minratha Circle of Magi. The Maker's most hallowed law, magic exists to serve man and never to rule over him, perverted. Mages in the Imperium say their most sacred duty is to serve man, and they serve best by wielding political power. And the worst, that which blessed Andraste must weep to see, all of it is built on a foundation of slavery. While most nations forbid the buying and selling of slaves within their own borders, nearly everyone ships her people to the Imperium for sale, skirting the prohibitions against such atrocities and feeding the Imperium's endless hunger for bodies, to fight the Kunari, to work the mines and quarries, to build the palaces of the Magisters, to sweep the crumbling streets and turn the middens and serve at the whim of their mage overseers. From Black City, Black Divine, a study of the Tevinter Imperium by Sister Patrine, Chantry Scholar. Very interesting. Now then, over here, well, there's nothing over there, but over here we have the basements of the Amelia estate.
Well,
now,
this looks like the place. If the cellars go this far, maybe we were important.
Maybe we were. Now, I am just about out of time for this episode. However, where is it? We want journal. And we want codex entries. You see, I got an awful lot of codex entries. Way too many. I've read that. Speaking of codex entries, let me just tag some of these. There we go. Characters, we got all them. Lore, read that. The Grey Wardens. We haven't read this one. And we've read them. Okay, so I'm going to read the Grey Wardens, and I'm going to start reading just a couple of these, I think, at the end of every episode. That way we'll get through them decently enough. The Grey Wardens. The first Blight had already raged for 90 years. The world was in chaos. A god had risen, twisted and corrupted. The remaining gods of Tevinter were silent, withdrawn. What writing we have recovered from those times is filled with despair, for everyone believed, from the greatest archons to the lowliest slaves, that the world was coming to an end. At Weishaupt Fortress in the desolate Anderfels, a meeting transpired. Soldiers of the Imperium, seasoned veterans who had known nothing their entire lifetimes except hopeless war, came together. When they left Weishaupt, they had renounced their oaths to the Imperium. They were soldiers no longer. They were the Grey Wardens. The Wardens began an aggressive campaign against the Blight, striking back against the Darkspawn, reclaiming lands given up for lost. The Blight was far from over, but their victories brought notice, and soon they received aid from every nation in Thedas. They grew in number as well as reputation. Finally, in the year 992 of the Tevinter Imperium, upon the Silent Plains, they met the Archdemon Dumat in battle. A third of all the armies of northern Thedas were lost to the fighting, but Dumat fell, and the Darkspawn fled back underground. Even that was not the end. The Imperium once revered 7 gods: Dumat, Zazakael, Toth, Andaral, Razakael, Lusakarn, and Urthamiel. 4 have risen as archdemons. The Grey Wardens have kept watch through the ages, well aware that peace is fleeting and that their war continues until the last of the dragon gods is gone. From Ferelden Folklore and History by Sister Patrine, Chantry Scholar. We've also read these 2. Good stuff. That one. Got that one. Yep. It is literally just all of the promotional material. Okay, so I'm going to read 2 of them at the end of every session, I think, from now on until they're done. The Long Trek. Malcolm would never tell his wife or young children where he was from. It was a bloody tale that forever gave him nightmares. When their love was still fresh, Leandra once pressed him on the subject. All he would say is, freedom's price is never cheap, but that was 100 leagues and a lifetime ago. His haunted gaze lingered on his favourite boots, and he would say no more. The Fugitive's Mantle. Malcolm Hawke ranged the breadth of the Free Marches as he ran from the Templars who pursued him. He often posed as a mercenary, and his substantial martial skills easily secured him positions in different bands. On one assignment for the Crimson Oars, he was sent to Kirkwall, the seat of Templar power in the region. He had every intention of staying there briefly, but fate had other plans. There we go. I will just say that the codex entries for the promotional items, especially the ones regarding Malcolm and Leandra, they really aren't canon. Because we know that Malcolm was brought to the Kirkwall Circle as a young man, an apprentice, I believe, because the Kirkwall Circle needed new talent. And he met Leandra at a ball held by the Viscount where they kind of got some mages to do some like magical tricks for the nobility. And Gamlin actually helped the pair meet, and thus they started their love affair. So just take the item codex entries with a pinch of salt. I maybe like to imagine that they're stories that Malcolm told his children. Like, every time they asked him, like, oh, how did you and Mummy meet? He'd give them a different story. Kind of like what Varric does. I don't know, that's just my own personal headcanon. Okie doke, as I said, I am out of time for this episode. In the next one, we will head up into the Amelia estate and clear out those slavers. But until then, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below. And if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Callista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.